In this time of perceived immune crisis, where everyone is concerned about their immune system and how is it working and what do I do to help my immune system, and one person says vitamin D, the other one says no, my doctor said it doesn't help. One person says diet, the other says no, it doesn't help. What do I do, and how do I look at immune function and enhance my immune function? Can you tell us, let's begin with, how should we be thinking about our immune systems?
Yeah, thank you. I've had a kind of a shift in my own understanding since you and I back in the 2000s, and even before then, we were in conversation about how we would assemble this advancing information about the immune system, which is very, very sophisticated basic science, into a theme that could be understood and properly communicated to those people that are not necessarily wanting to read every article and dig into the science deeply. And what I've come to recognize, and I know you communicate this in your work as well, is that the immune system is one of the three places in our body that constantly is sampling the outside world and communicating 24/7, 365 with our inside body as to how things are going outside. And outside includes, by the way, the gut microbiome, because that's kind of outside the interior cavity of the body. And our immune system is a sampling system that is taking in information, and it's then translating that information, and it's encoding that information and sending out into the rest of the body to know how to behave. And that, if you think of the various information that it can get information, psychosocial information, it can get biophysical information, it can get material information from food, it can get radiochemical information from the electromagnetic spectrum. All that information we've learned that the immune system has translators of, and it translates it into changes of the body to be waiting with either open arms or closed fists as to how it's going to respond to that information. The closed fist is when the body feels it's being impaired or impaled, and as a consequence, it has to do its command and control and go into its warlike defensive mechanism, and it has to fight back. And we often think of that as inflammation and the process of activation, the color of red, the god of war, Mars, and rubor, choler, and dolor is what doctors call it, you know, the inflammation, swelling, and pain. And that's when the information that's being received is producing a response that the body should be doing when it feels like it's under threat. And then the other response that the immune system can do is one of peace, love, and joy. And it can say to the body, you know, everything's cool outside, it's wonderful, we're in harmony, and we're going to produce an environment that you're going to have a really great day. Now, it turns out that if you have a lot of the alarm and danger signals coming in, that will imprint the immune system. It has a memory, and it can remember those events, and it can hold on to them for a lifetime. And it can accumulate those bad experiences, so it becomes more at rest, more unrest, and more alarmed over time. And this is what happens when people grow older. They get what scientists call immunosenescence. Their immune system ages. But what that really means is that the immune system collected a bunch of bad experiences that it couldn't get rid of. And as a consequence, our immune system gets more imperiled the older we get. And that's why, for instance, with SARS-CoV-2 infection, I think we see older age people having more serious infection and going on into COVID-19 disease with greater dysfunction, because they have an immune system that carries bad memories that doesn't give them the opportunity to absorb and control the virus in a way that it would if it was a more vital, younger, free of bad experiences. Now, it turns out that our body does have a process to rid itself of bad memories in the immune system. And it's that story that's really been emerging in immunological science that I'm very interested in, because it's not a one-way street. Yes, you can collect bad memories or memories of danger, but you can also rid yourself of those, just as you can in your life through behavioral conditioning and having good thoughts and doing meditation, hanging out with good friends and all that kind of stuff, having a loving attitude. you can also do that same kind of cleansing process in your immune system. And the mechanism by which that has occurred has just really been discovered over the last, say, decade. It won a Nobel Prize in Medicine and Physiology in 2013, and it's called autophagy and mitophagy, selective ways that your immune system gets rid of bad memories and damaged immune cells so that it makes room for fresh new ones that aren't imprinted with bad experiences. So one of the things that I've been very interested in, and I know you as well have, is how do we accelerate the ability of our body to get rid of bad memories in our immune system, revitalize itself, and we do so. And Sid Baker said this years ago, as we know, we've quoted it so many times in functional medicine. That is, you take away the bad things and you give the good things, right? So the question is, what are the bad things? Gluten being one of those for many people, and what are the good things? Those are things that we're now started learning that can be things like polyphenols from flavonoids in plant foods. So we're starting to really get a much better understanding of how our immune system can be rejuvenated. And that's been the focus of my attention for the last few years, because I think our immune system is our sampling system for the world. And what we want to do is we want to sample joy. We don't want to sample and be responding always thinking we're impaired.
Right. Well, thank you for that brilliant overview. And I'm going to summarize it here for people, that as we age, our immune system remembers the traumas that we've gone through, whether they're chemical traumas or electromagnetics. You know, you're on your phone for 5 hours a day, it's part of your business, and you put it next to your head, or you're wearing a Bluetooth bud in your ear talking through the microphone. Whether you're eating French fries once or twice a week for 20 years or 40 years, whatever the trauma is, biochemical, electromagnetic, that our immune system remembers a lot of that. And some of that, we call them antibodies, that you're making antibodies that are there to protect you. And as we age, our immune system gets worn down because it's been so vigilant for so long, it doesn't have the reserves it doesn't have access to the reserves to be freshly responding and be selective. This is okay, this one's not. And that there's an entire science now with a lot of evidence as to how do we start to revitalize our immune system. And the geek terms are autophagy and mitophagy. So, but how do we start to re-energize our immune system? Am I summarizing that okay?
Yeah, I think you're doing a very, very good job. It's really important, I think, for people to understand that some of this memory that our immune system retains is really beneficial. That would be like when we think of maybe we got sick when we were younger and our body's immune system remembered that exposure to that virus. And now the next time we're exposed, it knows how to produce a defensive substance so that we limit being sick. Those are good parts of the immune system. But what we started to recognize is that there are things that happen that traumatize the immune system that produce what I call post-traumatic stress system syndrome of the immune system. And they actually influence the immune system in such a way is that it's constantly on guard. And that leads to a term that we've heard more and more called inflammaging, that our immune system is constantly in an inflamed state that contributes to our aging, not just of our immune system, but our whole body, that inflammaging process. So it's finding the right balance points that leads to proper recognition and defense while not overreacting and becoming constantly in a state of alarm. And that, I think, is what we're learning how to do, both with mind, body, and spirit, to create that environment.